Talofa, and welcome to episode 3 of Intersections Talanoa Podcast. My name is Ainsley Aiono, and I am your host today. Today, I'm so excited and honored to be interviewing student researcher Heimuli Paletua. Heimuli is a human resources major with minors in hospitality and information technology. She is currently a sophomore here at BYU Hawaii and is working on her manuscript for the Intersections Undergraduate Research Journal. Her topic is on Tongan land rights and the impacts of Tongan and foreign women. So we are so excited to have her here with us today. Talofa Heimuli.
Malo elelei.
Thank you so much for being here today. We're so excited. So we're just gonna go right ahead and get started. For our first question, it's not necessarily a question, actually. I don't know if you've seen our first 2 episodes featuring myself and Kimana Kanapu as guests. But in those episodes, Dr. Lina Kruse interviewed the both of us, and we were given the opportunity to wrap our names. Today, I'm not going to ask you to do that. And it has nothing to do with some audience complaints about perhaps one of the guests' rapping skills. I'll keep it all anonymous, but some of the complaints were saying like, "Oh, she's so bad at rapping. Please, get some help. Have Kimana teach you some rapping skills." So we'll keep that all anonymous though, to spare personal feelings. We won't get too much into that. But today we're gonna pivot a little bit, try out our new segment. And so I'm really excited for that. So I hope that you're game for a new segment. Does that sound okay?
I'm ready.
Okay. So our segment today is titled Tongan Trivia. I am really excited for this one in particular. For me, a Samoan, to interview you, Heimuli, a Tongan. And so it's just going to be really quick. Just going to ask you just a couple questions and see how you do, okay?
Okay.
So question number 1, Heimuli, can you tell me the name of a winning team for the Rugby League World Cup semifinalist? Any that come to mind?
Tonga.
Unfortunately, that is not the correct answer. It is okay. That's okay, Heimuli. You will have a second chance, okay? We have one more question for you. Are you ready for our second question?
Yes.
Okay. So this one is just super simple. I'm just gonna ask you, can you tell me the name of this song? Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you recognize this song?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the name of this song is? Sorry?
Is it Manu Samoa? Tama Samoa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, or the Manu Samoa anthem. Yes,
Manu
all correct
Samoa.
answers. Heimuli, thank you so much for being such a team player. You did great. Definitely a dub for Tongans for this round, okay? Okay, thank you so much. All right. So now we're going to get into our interview, which I'm so excited for. So, Heimuli, before we get straight into your research topic, could you just give us more of an intro to yourself? Tell us more about you, where you're from, and what brought you to BYU, and if you have like any family connections there or what that looks like.
So my name is Heimuli Paletua, and I am from the Kingdom of Tonga. I am the second oldest of 7 children, and my oldest sister graduated earlier this year from here, from BYU Hawaii, and I have a little sister who just came in last semester. So there's 3 of us here in Hawaii. 2 of us is currently a student, while the other one is doing her TA. Or AT, academic training. And what brought me here to BYU Hawaii, I grew up in Tonga and heard all the beautiful stories about Brigham Young University of Hawaii from graduates in our ward and in my home state, and they just talk about how much they love Hawaii and the experience that they have at the Polynesia Cultural Center. So I was just like, oh, one day I'm gonna go BYU Hawaii and go work at the Polynesia Cultural Center. So yes, it is a blessing to be here and a dream come true for me and my siblings too.
That is so awesome. I love to hear that story and a bit more of your background and your history, and not just to BYU Hawaii, but also to the Polynesian Cultural Center as well. So that's great. Thank you so much, Heimuli. So now talking again about your research and your research regarding Tongan land rights and especially its impacts for women. So I'm curious to know about your research for Tongan land rights in general, and what kind of led you specifically to research that topic for this, obviously as a Tongan, but why do you want to research this in this aspect right now?
The first topic that actually came to mind when we were like picking a topic to research on was about natural disasters, because volcano just happened in Tonga earlier this year. But then I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and then she asked me, "Do you think inequality is happening in Tonga right now due to land distribution?" And then it was something that like brought to my mind, was thinking of all night. And then in the morning I was like, yes, I'm writing on land rights in Tonga. And so it was just something that I think is, it's a topic being talked about, being discussed outside, especially between women in Tonga, since they do not have the right for land in Tonga. And I was just thinking, yeah, this is an interesting topic to do my research on. Hmm.
That's awesome. Thanks. So yeah, you touched on a little bit of your reasoning behind, your focus on women in Tonga and how that is, a factor that plays into your research and your role. I'm curious into what specifically drew you into focusing on women, and why you think it's important to kind of like outline that within your research and kind of give that further attention in that too.
Yeah, so in the Tongan culture, it basically revolves around women, or that is what I think about the Tongan culture. For example, we have the fahu, or your dad's older sister, who is basically the ruler of the family. Whatever she says, everyone goes with it. And even though it's your wedding day, for example, you'll still come back to recognize how important your faho is, or your mehikitanga, which are women's in Tonga. And I was also thinking of how women have influenced the development of Tonga, on example, the economic development, how it influenced so many decisions that's been made by Tonga, and how important and respected Tongan women are in the society in general. But then thinking of how important women are, why can't they own land if they think that, if I think that the Tongan culture revolves around women, why can't the constitutions or the government let women own land in Tonga? So it was just something that I was focusing on the Tongan women's, to just to have a better understand on why they have this if they don't do that. You know, why are women so important in the Tongan culture? They're being respected and have these roles in the society if they cannot own land in their birthplace. So all these thoughts just drew me to focus on women's, on my writing research.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm learning a lot as well too. And so I guess my next question is, what has been some of the more interesting aspects for you personally throughout your research? Again, for you coming into this research, you're Tongan, you're a woman, so you're already coming into this research with this like insider perspective. But when you're looking at it in this research setting and you're studying it like as a student scholar, has there been anything that you found along the way that has been surprising to you, or anything that you've particularly found interesting? Yeah.
So something that I think I found interesting, like the first thing I was surprised that I thought that the land in Tonga is just owned by the government and the crown. I mean, yes, all the land in Tonga, the piece of land owned by the crown, but I didn't know that there's a tofia or a land being offered to some of the chief in Tonga or the Ho'eiki in Tonga. And I found out that there are two Ho'eiki or Matapule that they own most land in Tonga, which is something I found a surprise. I thought that all the chief in Tonga, the Ho'eiki, Matapule, have land. They own land together, like how do we call it? Tofia. They own the same tofia of land in Tonga. And another thing I found interesting is how I have so many questions coming with to this research, and then one of those research question is, what will happen if if a parents got divorced? So you know how men is basically own the land, but what will happen to the women with the children? Are they being kicked out from the land, or do they own the land and just stay there while the men leave and find a different land? And so I found I found some answers that the chief of the village comes in and help out settle out that argument and settle out that issues by sometimes they let the women stay with the children, the women stay with the children in the land and have the men moved out. But I just feel like even though they let the women and the children stay, it feels like women are still relying on men to survive in Tonga. Basically the land is still owned by the man, but the women is living under the land of the man. So these are just something that I found interesting throughout this research, is how all these land issues and land ownership and some of the land laws that I did not know exist in Tonga until I did this research, and then I learned more about it.
Great. Yeah. Again, I'm like learning so much like through your research. So thank you so much for sharing all of that here today. So my next question is about your future plans and the impact of your research. So you've still got a little bit of time left here at BYU Hawaii, and so in both a sense of your time remaining here as a student here at Brigham Young University of Hawaii, but also in postgraduate plans. Do you think that the research that you're doing now, and in both terms of like the actual research that you are conducting and learning, as well as the entire experience of the process and the publication process and everything, how do you think that will impact your future and your plans and your goals and all of that?
So, like you said, I still have a long way to go here in BYU Hawaii, but something that it's in my mind that I'm planning to do is return home to Tonga and help with the development of Tonga. And I want to go back and work in Tonga. So that is what I'm thinking of at the moment. Yeah. And so I think with this research, it will help me as I return home to Tonga with my degree and work in Tonga. I will already know something about Tonga, have a general knowledge of what the land law is in Tonga and land laws in general in Tonga. And so it's not like I'm going into Tonga, going back to Tonga, and all these things coming into me like a new stuff. But as I do this research, it will help impact me as I return to Tonga and help work in the government of Tonga. And also with my time here, it helps me to have some more confidence on writing and doing research in the future, especially with the scholarship that I'm in with the IWORK as an IWORK student, giving me the opportunity to work and to study here at BYU Hawaii. This research will help me to improve in my education and also in the future as I further my education.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for such a great interview and for teaching me and everybody watching probably is so much about you and your research. I've so enjoyed getting to know you more and learning more. So yeah, again, we're so grateful to have you here this week with us, Heimuli, on this episode of Intersections Talanoa Podcast. And I'm excited to see all of the great things you have in store. And yeah, Fafetai Heimuli, we'll see you in the Coconut Wireless. Tofa soifua.
Malo.